Let me just test my sound. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience for the little interlude between the two sessions. I'm happy to introduce Pastor Niyi. I call him, with anyone that comes into my mouth, I can say engineer, I can say pastor. But Engineer Niyi is a mechanical engineer with over 29 years of experience in the oil and gas industry. He's a retail investor and financial education sponsor, known on various investing and investment forums. He's known as Wanajo. He's passionate about educating people on how to use financial intelligence to make smart investment decisions toward wealth creation. He will help participants, he will help us this evening to understand the process and advantages of starting to invest early in life. He will also teach us about the benefits of compound interest towards wealth creation. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. I would now share your slides.
Okay, so good afternoon or good evening, everybody, depending on where you are. It's a privilege and a wonderful opportunity for us to have discussions together. I'm not a coach, I'm not a lecturer, so this is going to be more of a discussion session. And I will try to leave enough time for us to have questions and answers. And there could be some exercise in between this session. So I hope we are going to have a wonderful time together. So today we'll be talking about starting early, benefits of youthful investment, and it's just going to be about sharing experiences. There's a lovely scripture that I love. It says what we have seen, what we have had, what we have handled of the word of life. Basically, that's what we want to share. So it's out of experience, out of what I've learned from others, and we'll just be rubbing minds. Okay, next slide. No, I'm not sure this is the one I sent to you. I've just sent another one to you. Can you use that? I sent one to you about an hour ago.
All right, so I'll take this one out.
Yeah. But I can continue to speak. I mean, we don't because of time. So today we'll be talking about benefits of youthful investing. And there is somebody in particular that I love so much that I admire. Some of us will have heard about him. He had his 93rd birthday just some few days ago, I think on Wednesday, 30th of August. How many of us can guess his name? If you can guess, just put it in the chat box. Okay, I see Joshua got it right. Warren Buffett. And there are so many things that are intriguing and interesting about this old man. Now, he's not the richest man in the world, and he's not the only rich person, but he's someone that I think most of us can identify with, and we can learn from his journey as to how he got to where he is. He made some mistakes that we might not be able to talk about today, but he's someone that I'm sure he has seen it all. I mean, at 93, you can imagine what his experiences have been all these years. One of the special things about Warren Buffett is when he started investing. He bought his first stock at age 11. How many of us are older than 11 years here? We are older than 11. You can just signify by a show of hands and let me see. How many of us are older than 11? Okay, I can see Muyiwa saying something. So he started investing at the age of 11. And I see quite a number of us are older than him. So that basically says that we are even starting late. If you are older than 11 and you have not started, this journey. As at last year, it was worth $100 billion. As at this year, it's already worth $120 billion. It was rejected from one of the top schools, Harvard Business School. So that goes to quickly show me that in terms of academic excellence or performance, it might not be one of the best. His life is not all about chasing money, even though he has made a lot of money. One of the promises he made is that he's going to donate 99% of his personal wealth to philanthropy. For those who are Christians, sometimes when they say, oh, you have to pay 10% as tithes, you're asking yourself, how can I pay 10%? But imagine you ask yourself, you look at how much money you have, you look at how much money you need to spend, the remainder, what are you going to do with it? Nothing. You are going to give it out. And that's the stage that this man is. Already, he has given away 48 billion. I think that's as at last year. Now he has given away about half of his assets to philanthropy over the years. But this man still lives in the same house that he bought in 1958. The same house. So it's not because he cannot buy another one. It's not because there are not more beautiful and sophisticated buildings around, but he just made up his mind as to what gives him satisfaction, what gives him joy. So as we go on in this session, we'll be taking some lessons from this man's journey of life. Next slide. I won't spend more time on this. I think we've had a lot of definition about what investing is. I would just say it's basically sowing a seed, expecting that seed to grow, and that growth to bring fruit over the years. And so investment is different from saving, because saving is like just keeping the seed. But investing is when you plant the seed, you expect it to germinate and grow over time. And after some years, it starts to bring fruits. And for those of us who are young, I can still remember our children's days when we used to do homework on either integrated science or science as they call it. And they ask us to go and plant maybe a corn or beans and watch it grow. And some of us go there to check it almost every hour to see whether something has changed. But you suddenly discover that it takes time for any noticeable change to be seen. And that's something about investing. There is also a time element of it when we start to talk about the growth. Next slide. One question to ask ourselves is, why invest at all? Pastor Bimbo already talked about financial freedom. We just want to be free. Imagine having to wake up and not to worry about where your next meal will come, where you are just free to do whatever you like. Money is no longer a constraint. You know, there are some people, the job they are doing now, if not because of money, they will just have gone to the office on Monday, tell their boss, I'm tired of this, I will just leave. But because they are not yet free, they will still go back on Monday. They wish they don't have to put up with the environment. They wish they don't have to put up with the demands, but they had no choice right now. They are not yet financially free. So just imagine a world that you only do what you enjoy doing. You are not doing it because of money. You just decide, you wake up when you like, you go to places you want, you do the things that you want. Money is no longer a limitation for you. That's freedom. Then you invest because of financial goals you've set for yourself. And those goals can be different types. I mean, there are people that look around themselves and they say, oh, if only in my community, I can sponsor 10 people to the university. I mean, that's a goal that you can set for yourself. So goals is not just about yourself. It can be about the impact you want to make in the life of others. And so I wonder if there's anything you want to take away from this session today is a commitment to say, well, I'm tired of where I am. I'm going to decide to make a change. I don't want to be at this place again. One other reason why we invest, if we go to the next slide, is we need to prepare for tomorrow. This, for me, is always very, very interesting. Over the years, and maybe that's some of the things that have shaped my outlook to life, I've seen rich people, and I mean very, very rich people, who were the celebrities of those days, the socialites of their time. And some years down the line, you start to ask questions, what really happened to them? I've seen people who have the best of jobs, who are the envy of people when they were working. And some years after leaving employment, you look at them and you start to wonder what has happened. There is this, I don't know whether to call it a joke, that one of the places to find a retiree is to go to a mechanic workshop. When they are in gainful employment, they have the official car, brand new, that takes them everywhere. But by the time they retire, some are not able to maintain the same lifestyle. Wear and tear starts to affect the vehicle. And before you know it, they visit the mechanic workshop every day. So to fail to prepare is to prepare to fail. And Warren Buffett said something that to me is very important. An idiot with a plan is going to beat a genius without a plan. So there is always a need to have a plan for the future. And good that yesterday we were talking about goal setting and developing a financial plan. So there is need to have a plan for the future, not only for today, but also for a tomorrow. Next slide. So when we talk about investments, what are the things that we should invest in? And the first thing I think we should invest in is in yourself. Be the best that you can be in whatever you are involved in. Anything you are doing, just make sure you are the best at it. At least put in your best. Strive to be the best. That means you are going to try to develop skills, competencies, and knowledge. And one way of doing that is to read and read and read and read. Like Warren Buffett said, read 500 pages every day. I'm sure some of us struggle to read even one day. We'd rather watch Big Brother and all those stuff. Knowledge is very, very important. Invest in yourself. I mean, when I was growing up, getting a job was very difficult. And so people will ask you, is there any need for education at all? And my father will always say, well, there might not be a job now for those who have degrees and things like that. But when the job comes, you can be sure the first people they will seek out are those with the right education, qualification, competencies, skills. So when you are investing yourself, it's not just about going to school. It might be a trade that you need to learn. It might be a skill that you need to develop. But make sure you are improving every day. Because if you are not improving, if you are not developing yourself, you will likely expire very soon. Again, I remember when I was a student, there are people we call typists. Some of us might not know about that. And they are very, very important people. I mean, very, very important people. Even as a big man in your office, you want to write a letter, you want to write a memo, you give it to the typist, you will write it out, the typist will type it and print it out, and you will make corrections, give it back to the typist, and the typist will type it again. You might have to typex it until you get it right. So as a big man, you have a submission to make. Without the typist, you cannot do anything. So you are basically dependent on that typist. So they are very, very important. Some of them could be rude and arrogant because they know that nothing happens without them. But gradually, you started having electronic typewriters. We started having computers. Now we have smartphones. So typists have expired. Nobody, maybe except in some government parastatals, is going to employ a typist. So for those who were typists then, who did not develop themselves, who did not acquire new skills, who did not get additional competencies, they have no use or value now. So if you as an individual don't want to expire in anything you are doing, invest in yourself. Acquire skills, acquire competencies, acquire knowledge, go out of your comfort zone. Don't just do things that you are comfortable with. Be ready to learn and learn and learn. And the competencies you acquire that you don't need right now, they may come in very handy for you tomorrow, especially in this era of Japa, that everybody wants to live and seek for greener pastures. You may suddenly realize that some of the skills and competencies that you have acquired or developed over the years might be what is going to help you to give you a soft landing wherever you find yourself. Next slide, please. You need to invest in relationships and networks. I always share this example with people. The kind of relationship you have can determine what you become in life. Maybe I will share this with us. On my passing out parade from the parade ground after my youth service, I went to Port Harcourt to do an interview. And I went with another of my friends. And we have another friend who served in Port Harcourt. So we stayed with him and we did the interview. And we went back home. And some weeks later, and this is the era where we have post office, no smartphone. So they sent a letter to me to let me know that, sorry, you are not successful in this test. And I made up my mind that day that I will never apply to this company again, never in my life. My other friend did not get any message, so he was still hoping against hope. Some months later, this company placed another advert in the paper, and I looked at it and said, no way, I am not going to apply to this company, never again. My other friend saw it, and for whatever reason, he also did not apply. Then we have our friend in Port Harcourt, who was not qualified for the role or for the position, prepared a CV, and applied for 3 of us from the same school, the same class, the same course, but he was not part of us because he was not qualified. So he applied for 3 of us. And we got a letter independently asking us to come for an interview. I saw mine and I said, these people, maybe they've looked at the old one and they found out that they did not do the right thing. That's why they are inviting me. My other friend looked at it also and said, okay, maybe because they have not called him all this while, that's why they are inviting him. So the three of us, again, the interview was going to be in Port Harcourt. The three of us got to Port Harcourt, and that's when we found out that somebody somewhere applied for the three of us. And out of 7 people that were employed that year in that company, the three of us from the same school, the same class, the same course, we are employed. Just because we had a friend who took it upon himself to prepare our CV, look for a document, applied on our behalf. So I tell people my job, I did not apply, somebody applied for me. That's the beauty of relationships. The relationships you build, the networks you develop can come in very, very handy as you go about your investment journey. And when you are building relationships, don't focus about what you can get. Also think about what you can offer. It cannot be, it does not have to be money. It can be your time. Because sometimes we look at people and say, okay, this person does not need any money. What can I offer Pastor Bimbo? Nothing. She has everything, so no problem. But there are things I may be able to do for her. I might run errands for her, not because I want her to give me money. Because, there are certain debts that people pay later. I'm basically depositing something that I'm going to cash in later on in life. So please, let's make sure we build good relationships and networks. And as we build relationships also, and I will talk about this when I go to the next slide, have people of like minds around you. People that you can build yourself together, people that you can have common goals, aspirations, and values. Very, very important. Look for people of high energy. Look for people with integrity. Run away from people that have character flaws. Avoid people that cannot be trusted. Avoid people that are ready to sweet talk you. Avoid those that are only talk but no action. Look for people of like minds that you are sure you can do things together. Next slide. So what are the things we should invest in? Assets, not liabilities. For those of us who have read about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I think that was a very good description of what an asset is, what a liability is. And the definition, very simple. An asset is something that brings money to you. A liability is what takes money away from you. We will give examples as we go ahead today. Stocks. This is about ownership of a company. You basically become a part owner of a business. And the beautiful thing about stocks is with 5,000 Naira, you can start your investment journey with stocks. Bonds. Bond is like you are lending money to either a company or a government. Federal government of Nigeria has something called a savings bond now, which is more, I think the minimum for you to invest is 5,000 Naira. So you can become a lender to Nigeria by basically participating in those bonds. Next one is real estate, property. And for young people, when they hear real estate, they just wave it aside. and rightfully so. Because you look at Lagos, they say how much is a land in Lekki. When they give you the figure, you calculate how much you are earning now, that even if you work for the next 30 years, you are not going to be able to afford it. So people get scared. One of the things about real estate is when it's capital intensive, that's the truth. It's not very liquid, that is true. But there is also a way you can participate. For example, we don't have to buy land in Lekki because investment in property does not mean that's where you are going to live. And that's why I love the session yesterday when we talk about behavioral finance. You don't need to get attached to anything. It's not by emotions. So if where we can buy land is Ekpe, even land in Ekpe now is not cheap. So I might not be able to afford land in Ekpe. But if we have friends, 10 of us of like minds, we may be able to afford it. And that's why I talk about relationship before. We can come together, form a group of people. We can have an investment club. And based on that, we can leverage numbers and be able to invest in properties or real estate that as individuals, you might not be able to participate in. I have a group of friends where we contribute money every month to invest. And what that has helped us to do is what as individuals we are not able to do, you may be able to do it collectively. And if there is a cooperative that you can join, that you know is not a scam, please go ahead and do that. What you can also invest in is mutual funds. Basically, I expect that tomorrow there will be more discussion about this, about mutual funds. And it's basically trying to pull funds together for investment. Now, what are things you should not invest in? And apologies for those who may get offended with this. Over the time, or over some of recent, we've had people coming with various schemes. For those who are old enough, it started with all this forum to Umana, and they get more sophisticated when we started having something like Nospetco. Now we have things that I have termed Ikoyi Agric. You will see somebody will come up and they say they are doing agric investments and their head office is at Ikoyi, and they will ask you to come and buy slots. And I always ask, I mean, you call yourself a farmer and your office is at Ikoyi, that's already a red flag for me. A very, very big red flag. It does not matter what you say after. A farmer will not locate office at Ikoyi. Secondly, they talk about their products. They have cassava, they have rice, they have oil palm, they have corn. And I've never seen any of their product in any market. I don't see it in ShopRite. I don't see it in Spar. I don't see it in My 12. I don't see it anywhere. Then this product, who is buying them? I'm a consumer also. So if we say Dangote is rich, is producing something, if I go to the market, I will see Dangote cement. If I go to the market, I will see Dangote sugar. But all these schemes that they tell you, oh, they are even insured, and people start to get excited. Some are promoted in religious centers. Please run away from such. I don't think that's where you should put your money. Next slide. When is the best time to invest? I think the best time for you is now. And because there is something about time, because we are talking to youths, there is something about time that you need to allow to work for you. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest scientists of this world, said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. I will share another example with us. Well, many years ago, I belonged to something like a cooperative. And so every month, I save money there, and they declared a dividend. And I look at my spreadsheet and I say, okay, if I put this money every month and I get this dividend or this return every year, I saw what my worth will be in 10 years. And that day, one of the things that struck me, and some of us might find it strange, is the fact that it's possible for you to be a billionaire without stealing, without corrupt practices, just by diligent investing, moderate returns, with time working for you. We are going to do an exercise. And so let me see how much time I have. Okay, I have some time. We are going to do an exercise. If I give you 1 kobo, and this 1 kobo is a magical 1 kobo, it's not the normal 1 kobo that you have. It's a magical 1 kobo that doubles. It can double itself every day. By the second day, how much are we going to have? This magical 1 kobo doubles every day. So, okay, somebody have said 2 kobo, that's good. By the third day, how much are we going to have? We have to be fast. By the third day, 4 kobo. No, not 3, not 3. We started with 1 kobo. By the second day, we had 2 kobo. By the third day, we have 4 kobo. Okay? By the fourth day, how much are we going to have? 8 kobo, right? By the fifth day, 16 kobo. Good. We are still kobo. Sixth day, how much are we going to have? 32 kobo. Seventh day, how much are we going to have? 64 kobo. Eighth day, how much are we going to have? 1 naira 28 kobo. Just 1 naira 28 kobo. Ninth day, how much are we going to have? 2 naira 56 kobo, correct? 10th day, how much are we having? 5 naira 12 kobo. So we've seen now in 10 days, because of this, my magical 1 kobo that doubles, by the 10th day, we have only 5 naira 12 kobo. I'm sure many of us will be tired already. I mean, what is 5 naira 12 kobo in this Nigeria economy that we are talking about? Okay, let's continue. By the 11th day, how much do we have? 5 naira 24 kobo. By the 12th day, how much? 20 naira 48 kobo. Good. 13th day, how much do we have? This same magical kobo that doubles. We are just at 40 naira 96 kobo. 14th day, 14th day, how much will we have from this magical 1 kobo that doubles every day? 81 naira 92 kobo. Okay. By the 15th day, how much are we having? 15th day, 163 naira 84 kobo. By the 16th day, how much? 16th day, how much? 327 naira 68 kobo. Now, for as long as you can do this calculation, you are ready for investment. You don't need any other arithmetic more than this. By the 17th day, how much will we have? Day 17, 655 naira 36 kobo. Note, we started with 1 kobo that is doubling every day. As at the 10th day, we have only 5 naira 12 kobo. But by the 17th day, we are already at 655 naira 36 kobo. And we are already halfway past the month. 18th day, how much do we have? 1,310 naira 72 kobo. 19th day, how much do we have? 19th day, okay, 2,621 naira 44 kobo. Only. Day 20, how much do we have? 5,242 naira 88 kobo. So from 1 kobo, after 20 days, we only have 5,242 naira 88 kobo. That's already 2/3 of the month gone. Okay? Let's now go to day 21. Day 21, we have 10,485 naira 76 kobo. Day 22, 20,971 naira 52 kobo. I saw somebody say, wow. Day 23. Day 23. 41,943 naira 4 kobo. Day 24. 83,886 naira 8 kobo. Day 25. 167,772 naira 16 kobo. Remember, we started from just 1 kobo, doubling every day. As at the 10th day, we have only 5 naira 12 kobo. By day 20, we have 5,242 naira 88 kobo. But by day 24, we are already at 83,886 naira 8 kobo. Day 25, how much do we have by day 25? Day 25, I've seen somebody at day 26. I want us to remember what we had at day 25. By day 25, we have 167,772 naira 16 kobo. We are still talking about thousands, even though we started with kobo. Day 26. Day 26. 335,544 naira 32 kobo. Day 27. Day 27. 671,088 naira 64 kobo. Day 28. Day 28. We have crossed and entered million. No, see, just from 1 kobo, doubling every day, we become millionaires. 1,342,177 naira 28 kobo. Day 29. Day 29. Day 29. How much are we having by day 29? 2,684,354 naira 56 kobo. Day 30. 5,368,709 naira 12 kobo. Next slide, please. So 1 kobo doubling every day in 30 days becomes 5,368,709 naira 12 kobo. Now, we started with 1 kobo that is doubling every day. Are you going to have an investment that will double every day? Most likely not. Okay? But the important thing here is not that it's doubling. Because, I mean, the 1 kobo that is doubling, by day 2 is only 2 kobo. So doubling is not the issue. Even by day 10, is only 5 naira 12 kobo. So much more than the doubling is the time that allows your money to get compounded. Let time work for you. By the time you are getting to like day 21, the thing is now increasing at a rate that is looking like magic. It's becoming something extraordinary. And if you go back to the previous slide, if you look at this graph, and this is talking about how much Warren Buffett was worth at various stages in his life. Remember, we said he started investing at age 11. You will see that even as at the time he was 30, he only had 1 million. As at the time he was 30, he only had 1 million. Even by the time he was 52, it was 376 million. But see how time had worked for him. And that's something I want us to learn as youth. Patience is a virtue. Don't get carried away with Naira bet Naija. You want to double your money. You are doing that without patience working for you. You need time for your investments to compound and to grow. Next slide. And the next one. Now, what are the challenges? What are the difficulties we face when we say we want to invest early? The first thing is in discipline. Someone said, if you buy what you don't need, you are stealing from yourself. And many times we buy what we don't really need. Yesterday, we talked about needs and wants. You need to be clear about what you need. Ask yourself that question. Do I really need to buy this thing? I will share certain examples later. Second is self-esteem. I mean, most time we do things because we want to impress people. We want to get their approval. People that might not even know that you are there. I mean, how many times have you gone to buy a shoe because you want to impress people, and when you wear the shoe, people did not even notice that you are wearing the shoe anyway? A lot of self-esteem issues that we need to deal with. By the time we buy the shoe, can't you see my shoe? They did not see it. They are not even looking. But here you are, money you could have saved, money you could have invested. Some people will have gone to even borrow money to buy things just because we want to impress people. Third thing is small amounts. If I tell somebody now that let's start to invest 1 kobo, you say, what can that become? So we don't want to start small. Everybody wants to start big. Please despise not the days of little beginnings. Next slide. Impulsive buying is one of the things we struggle with as youths. We say things and we just go ahead and buy them. Warren Buffett said, if you buy things you don't need, you will soon sell things that you need. And I'm going to share this with us. Many years ago, I just started working. And I can remember one of my mentors giving me an advice. Assuming you are a student, your income is likely zero. You are not earning anything, most likely. Or maybe you have some pocket money. So every month they give you 10,000. So your income is 10,000. And the following day, you started working. So, and they are paying you 100,000 a month. So from somebody earning 10,000, you overnight, you start earning 100,000. And the person said, look, your income is increasing at a rate at this initial date of your life faster than your expense. Because between that yesterday and today, your expense have not changed. It's still the same you, nothing has changed. But what happens? You start to have desires because of this, your newfound status. You start to have certain desires. You start to justify certain needs. And before you know it, that 100,000 is not enough for you. This was the same you that was living on 10,000 before. But immediately 100,000 entered, your taste changes. You started to crave, just started to crave some other things. And some of the things we start to buy are things we don't really need. So let's be careful about impulsive buying. Next slide. Delayed gratification. Because you have small money, they are just paying me 100,000 now. Then I see that phone, the Nokia 3310 I'm using before, is not fit enough, it's not befitting. Then I want to go and spend all that money to buy another phone. Not because you are going to use the function of the new phone. No. Most of us, the phone we are carrying now is more powerful than even the laptop some of us we are using some years ago. But how many of that function on that phone do we use? We use WhatsApp, Instagram, maybe Facebook, social media. And it's not as if we are using it to generate income. It just becomes like a status symbol for us. So that expense, must you really do it? When you are young, don't choose comfort. Don't choose comfort. That my mentor told me. She said, two things must never combine together in the life of a person: old age and poverty. She said, if you are young and you don't have money, I mean, I don't have money and I want to go from Costain to Akongbo. If I run a little, I jog a little, in 30 minutes, I will be there. I mean, it's less than 5 kilometers. I will be there. When people see me, they will think I'm keeping fit. But if a 60 or 70-year-old man starts to do that, by the time the man will take 2 or 3 steps, when you look at his face, you see the grin on him, you will know that something is wrong with this man. So poverty and old age must not combine together. So when you are young, suffer the discomfort. It's not going to kill you. People say Nigeria is hard. Yes. If you get to the office tomorrow and they say, sorry, due to the things in Nigeria, we are forced to reduce everybody's salary by 10%. Will you leave that job? Most likely not. You will adjust. Fuel price have doubled now. Most of us have adjusted. But we could have made that adjustment, make that savings before now. But we would rather wait until we are pushed to the wall before we suffer the inconvenience that can release some funds for us that we can make use of to invest. So let's delay some of this gratification. Do I need to buy that car? Do I need a 3-bedroom apartment? I remember my first job, I got a 3-bedroom. I wasn't married. What do I need a 3-bedroom for? I will share another experience with us. I had a friend then. I got a job, had a 3-bedroom. Then this my friend got a job, and he had to come and stay with me. And the salary was 3 times what I was earning. 3 times. But they told him that his job is only for 6 months. So after 6 months, the job will end. So he came and he was staying with me, meaning he had no expenses. He's not building, he's not paying rent because he's staying with me. He will eat my food. I mean, we are very good friends. After the first month, the guy told me, I said, look, I will say it in Yoruba, then I try to translate in English. For those that don't understand Yoruba, he said, Mo no, mi ò lè ná tán. That is, I spend this money. The money did not finish. So I told him, I said, oh boy, this job is only for 6 months. He said, it does not matter. I said, I can't even finish it. And he was just spending anyhow. And I mean anyhow. He was eating out. We have food in the house, but he would decide to eat out. Of course, you are going to get so many friends. So he decided to get a lot of friends that they eat out together. So 6 months, this job, he only goes to work either 2 times in a week. 2 times. The rest is just sleeping at home. Not acquiring any extra skill, just sleeping. So after 6 months, they extended the job. And as usual, I said, God is working. They extended it by another 6 months. He was still not paying rent, not doing anything. That one ended. They extended it for another 6 months. And my friend was just enjoying himself. Then I think after 18 months, the job ended. My friend, for those that will remember what I'm going to say, he ended up selling VHS cassettes, tapes, on the roads, on the streets of Warri. He's a mechanical engineer. But when the money finished and his eye clear, first of all his friends left him. He was buying things that he does not need. So the few things that are important to him, he had to start selling them to make ends meet. So again, let's delay gratification. Next slide. Debt. I'm sure maybe tomorrow they will talk about good and bad debt. But what I would just say is let's be careful before we enter into debt. Next slide. Fear. One of the things Warren Buffett said about investing is be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. Because you are young and you have time on your side, don't be afraid of failure. Because if you fail today, there is still tomorrow for you. Unlike people like Pastor Bimbo, I mean, they are already old. Apologies. They don't have time on their side again. They can't afford to make mistake. They can't afford to take risk. So they are very, very careful about the things that they do. But when you are young, that's the time to take the risks, calculated risks. That's the time to damn failure. Put the fear aside. Let's expand our boundaries. Let's think about the impossible. But you get to a stage when you are married, when you have children, even when you want to take those risks, they will tell you, remember the bandwagon that are following you. You are not able to do that again. So when you are young, that's the time to be bold. In conclusion, next slide. So in Warren Buffett, we have an example of somebody that started very early. And we could see his journey. It's not just only about money. It's also about investing in yourself. And if there is anything I want to take away today, for the young ones among us, don't choose comfort at the expense of labor. Don't. Because now that you are young, do as much labor as you can. Thank you. Over to you, Pastor Bimbo.
Thank you so much, Pastor Niyi. I thank God that I was muted all through because I was just laughing throughout. Yes, thank you so much, everybody. Please give him a virtual clapping. Yeah. I already answered you, sir. I said it's a privilege to be old. Should I give you some time to take a cup of water before we come back to the questions? Yes,
don't worry, just continue. Just
continue. Yes, I was also hoping for magic, you know. I was already thanking God that maybe my members of my village would get some more money from me very soon. I was looking for that magic. I was ready to give you more than one cover so that you can, in how many days, help me make it 5 million naira. In short, I was going to also give you $1 to make it $5 million. Yes, thank you, everybody. Yes, Muyiwa, your laugh is true now. I was anxiously waiting. I knew he was teaching us the power of compounding, but I also thought maybe he would tell us that magical place, that magical investment. It's just some people were already texting me saying that what they want that investment, or they want it. Thank you so much, sir. I don't know if we should start with yesterday's questions, but maybe let's deal with this first. Isioma O says, at what point do we want to talk about investments in the real estate industry in Nigeria and in the US? Do you have any answer to that, sir? Or is this something we would get back to? I don't know much about the real estate in the US.
So what I will say is, it does not matter where you are. Investment is investment. I mean, the basics are the same. One major difference between the US and Nigeria is the availability of mortgage and things like that. But overall, basically what you are doing is you are going into an investment that is not liquid. You are going into an investment that is capital intensive. You are going to an investment that is moderate returns. Now, people speculate, of course, property prices go up, yes, but the same way property prices do go down. The thing is, when people are selling you things, they only tell you the upside, the good side of the story. I can tell you stocks that have made 1,000%. But I can also tell you stocks that move from 70 to 1 naira. So, but as far as real estate is concerned, I think the message is capital intensive. The returns are moderate. It's not very liquid, and you can tie your capital down for a long time. And for the young ones, it's highly unlikely that you will have the funds to be able to play in real estate individually. You need to come together and pull funds together, have the correct legal framework to be able to do that. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that answer. Maybe just to add that we should be very careful when it comes to investing in a location that we're not particularly resident in. It can be profitable, but we need to understand everything that relates to that. And this also counts for people who are abroad, who may be around the call, who are seeking to invest in real estate back home. Integrity is very important. You need to make sure that you're dealing with people you trust. It's also important that you check what you're investing in. You know, someone was saying to a cousin of mine a while ago that he's buying into the this Victoria Island. I've forgotten the name of this estate now. Pastor, do you know it's the one near NTA where the sand
Eco Atlantic.
That the guy was buying into Eco Atlantic, and you know the investment the guy quoted was very far from anything that can buy anything in Ekpe. So I just knew that he had been, swindled. So it's important to work with people that we trust. There are experts that can help people and guide. So if you're abroad and you want to invest back home, make sure family, it's good to work with family, but sometimes you may not be able to, maybe because of relationships, drill and ask questions, ask family members questions. But family may also be the person that you can trust the most. But at the end of the day, make sure that you are investing in your name through someone that you trust back home. And I'm just saying this because, of a story that my husband said to me yesterday of someone who they were going to bury their father, same mother, and the gentleman was asked to buy three cows. And the sibling abroad sent all the money for 3 cows, and the one at home bought 1 cow. And we were thinking, how could we have checked? How could the brother have checked? Would he have asked for 3 heads of cows to be sure that the brother had bought 3 cows? So be careful, I just need to add that. We have so many questions, so let me not take time making us laugh here. So we answered Tammy already. So the anonymous attendee that says I'm currently in debt and as my salary increases, how do I retrace my steps? Please send that question to the Gmail with your full details, and we will handhold you and help you retrace your steps. There are so many things that you can do. Regarding investment, how can someone be financially literate, like knowing the right investment? I think I spoke about it. Pastor Niyi also spoke about this, but do you have anything to add?
Well, so for me, there are many routes. One of the easiest routes is to join an investment club. Iron sharpeneth iron. You learn from others. You can challenge yourself. There was a time I belonged to a group where every weekend we basically go through an investment book that we all go through. We read. We have comments. So that's the way you learn. You basically need to spend time to learn. You don't need to become an accountant. You don't need to become an expert. You just need some few tips to be able to understand the numbers, be able to interpret them, understand, be able to see red flags where there is one. Thanks.
All right, sir. Thank you. Now, Bimisola Komolafe, how can a student invest his or her monthly allowance? She puts salary, or maybe the person is earning whatever. How can a student invest his or her monthly salary, and how can the person cope with feeding and other personal stuff? Or what's the best solution? I think the question is, how can I invest from my allowance? Because this person is a student and is getting a monthly allowance. So how can I invest?
Again, we all are different. I was once a student, and fingers are not equal. So I won't say my situation is the same for everybody. So that time I was in the university, my parents would give me pocket money for feeding, for everything. So the first thing I did is I'm going to live below that budget. So if the budget is for me to spend 30 naira a day, I will decide I'm going to spend 20 naira a day. So I have 10 naira savings. That's the starting point. Then as the savings grew, I now decide what can I invest in. Like I said, I invested in myself first. So I started learning so many things with a couple of my friends. And along that line, I still remember one particular friend of mine decided to have a suya spot in our school. Now, the beauty of those kind of businesses is what you need to start up a suya spot is very, very small. Most of us, when we think about investment, you are handing 10,000 naira, you want an investment of 100 million, and you want somebody to fund it for you. It's actually not going to happen. So he started a suya spot. Some of us are helping him to manage it. And that's how we started to grow. As we get more money, we said, okay, maybe we can start to buy shares. I still remember one of the first stocks I bought. I used 50,000 naira to buy it. Is it 50,000 or 55,000 or 51,000? It was GTB, and it was 5 naira 10 kobo at that time. And I bought 10,000 units. It looks small, but again, remember the exercise we did. Over the years, I still remember when I was selling that particular stock, the dividend I was getting from that 10,000 units of GTB, then it has grown, there have been bonuses, was much more than the money I used to buy it. So start small by saving. Then as your savings increase, you start to think of investing it. Thanks.
Thank you very, very much, sir. I just want to add from a personal experience. Okay, my son is not so young anymore. He's over 30 now. The first, I can't remember what session, what money talk conversation he joined. And he said that if he had saved £100 for every month that he was in school in England, that at the end of the 4 years he spent in England, he would have had £4,800, which he could have invested in something, far back at the time he graduated. So the bottom line is taking £100 off his pocket money at that time, he could have survived it. But financial education and understanding and taking advantage of the knowledge that we're sharing, in sessions like this, he didn't have it at that time. And every time I remember what he said, I always look back at what £4,800 compounded using what we've been taught today from the time he graduated. Of course, he won't even wait till the end. It will be probably at the end of the first year. So Pastor Niyi said that to invest in shares as low as 5,000 Naira, you can invest in shares. You can also invest in federal government of Nigerian bonds. It's a sacrifice. I received text messages from people, I was laughing, but I was muted. When Pastor Niyi said retirees, you find them in mechanic shops. I always wonder at people who, I'm not saying you shouldn't send text messages to say hello to people or to greet people, but when you pick your phone and you send Happy New Month to 1,000 people, Pastor Niyi always says, it's every dollar counts, every Naira counts. I'm just making a very trivial example or illustration, but the point is, as a student, there's something that you can give up. I know someone who needed to help someone recently with 100 and something pounds. And she said, I've looked at my budget, I've looked at my situation, something has to give for me to be able to help this person. I probably won't do this hairstyle this week. So something can give, so we just have to look inwards from whatever allowance you're getting and just make a sacrifice for a limited period of time. Thank you, sir, for your response. Investing sounds so easy, but there's a great deal in that train. How do I tackle it? Difficulties. This is anonymous, an anonymous attendee. Please send this question with your full details to our Gmail. We do have another session next week. Pastor Niyi will sit up, and then Mr. Ajibola will tell us and teach us about the basics of investing for low income, high income earners, investing in the current economic terrain in Nigeria, what we can do and what we cannot do. So please stay tuned and join the session next weekend. And then also send your question directly to us. We've talked about Isioma's question, we've answered Bemisola's question. There is an anonymous question that says, what business can I start to get 70,000 in 2 months? I think that's the microwave that Pastor Niyi said we should be wary of. But if you send the question, we can handhold you and guide you further personally. There's Kabiru Yahaya says, be fearful.
Sorry, can I just say something?
Okay,
well,
sir.
Maybe not that. So what is a business? A business is you are providing a product or a service that somebody needs. So when people ask, what business can I do? My response to them is always, where you are, your locality, your environment, what service or product do people need that you can offer them? That's the business you can do. Now, how much are you going to get from it is a function of the uniqueness of that service, the volume of people demanding that service, the creativity you put into it. So it's not, nobody can tell you what you should do. You are the one that will come up with what you can do. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. And one of the points that I picked when Pastor Niyi was talking and warning us about Ponzi schemes was that we should avoid products or services that have invisible offices. We should avoid investment options or offers that have invisible offices and invisible products and services, and also confusing schemes. I also have some teaching on my page online talking about Ponzi schemes. So you may want to also look at that. Mr. Sunday Oladapo says, how to invest in saving bonds? How do you invest in saving bonds? Federal Government of Nigeria saving bonds. Do you want to answer that, sir?
I think we should leave that in tomorrow.
Next weekend, you mean? Next weekend.
Next weekend, sorry.
Yes,
next
sir.
weekend.
Okay.
Mr. Ajibola will handle it.
Great. Mr. Sunday Oladapo, okay, yeah. So you can wait till next weekend, and if you want also personalized responses, you can also still send it by email. Now, Fatima Al-Hassan says, sir, what would you recommend for a student? Long-term or short-term investment?
So for me, every investment has to be long-term. I mean, you need to take a long-term view of investments. And that's why I gave the example of when they ask us to go and plant a corn or bean, we are checking it every day because children have a short-term look of things. Whereas for investment, you need to have a longer-term view. Just like the exercise we did, the 1 kobo that was doubling, after day 2 does not mean anything. After day 10 does not mean anything, even though it's doubling. So you need to take a long-term view of whatever investment you are going to do. When people promise to double your money within a day or 2, it's not going to happen. You will likely lose your money. We don't have time to talk about the risk and reward structure when it comes to investment, but you just need to take a longer term view. Don't be in a hurry. You are not hurrying anywhere. Slow and steady wins the race.
Thank you, sir. Yesterday, somebody had a question on ethical investments, and we said we would pack it till today.
So let me say something about that. When we talk about ethics, it means different things to different people. So I used to live in Malaysia, and I know some Muslims who don't do investment that has to do with interest and things like that. But there are other investments that that you don't get interest. What you get is rent that you can do. I have a friend who wanted to buy a property, happens to be a Muslim also, and he could not, by virtue of his faith, he could not get a loan. So what he did was to have what I could call a collective contribution. So he asked people to contribute money, and they bought the property, and he will now start to pay rent back to them. So that's one side of it for those that don't want to invest in interest-bearing securities. And I think in Nigeria now we have what we call Sharia-compliant investment. We have sukuk bonds. Those are ethical investments. I also, when I buy stocks, I won't make it a law for people. I don't buy stocks in certain companies because they don't agree with my views or beliefs. So I won't buy breweries, I won't buy tobacco companies, but that's just me. So basically, you can look at industries that aligns with your values, that aligns with your ethics, and invest in those areas. But there are investments that are Sharia compliant for Muslims, there are investments that are ethical for other people. I don't know whether that addresses the question.
Yes, I think it does. Thank you very much. I'm happy that you pulled the second part about the checking the ethics of the company that you're investing in. I know that people abroad, for example, people who are environmentally conscious, they are also very weary of the environmental policies of the companies they want to invest in. And people, for example, whose faith do not support the gay world will not invest in companies who are friendly with the gay world. Yeah. Just going through the questions now. I was trying to get yesterday's questions. You did talk about fear of investing yesterday, Pastor. Do you want to maybe add something to what you said yesterday? So there's a question about someone having the fear of investing.
Yeah, I mean, so there is no investment that does not come with its own risks. And part of that risk is you can lose your money. So anybody that offers you any investment and it tells you it's risk-free is not telling you the truth. And so there's an element of risks that goes with investment. Now, theoretically, the more risk you take, the more returns you'll be offered. So when you see an investment offering you a return higher than normal, just know that it's a very, very risky investment. And if it's too good to be true, please run away from it. Now, there is the rational fear around your money and the likelihood of you losing it. Yes, it's possible. And what I tell people, like this proverb in Yoruba, that when you are entering a river, you don't enter with your 2 feet. You enter with one leg first. You test it a bit, then you put the second one. So I won't, and that's where diversification comes in investment. Some people will say, put your heads in one basket and watch over it. Some people will say, no, don't put your heads in one basket. Diversify. It does not matter how good you think that investment is. Don't put all your money there, because there is a small chance, it does not matter how small, that you can lose that money. So you need to construct your investment in such a way that even if things don't go well, you are still good. And I'll give an example, especially with stocks. So people buy stock, they tell them the stock is going to, maybe I should use crypto. Crypto is a very good example. Apologies, I'm not that sophisticated. So when people say they are buying coins or crypto, up till now, I still don't understand what they are buying. Okay, but people made money. So I don't say because they are making money is a good investment. No, people make money. So the question is, that investment I'm buying, if the price does not go up, so what happens? I bought GTB years ago. The price have gone up and down over the years, but they have been paying me dividends. So just yesterday, they declared a dividend of 50 kobo. That's interim dividend. So even if the price is not going up, I'm getting something back. So I'm always careful of going for an investment that gives nothing. Somebody is putting a question about Forex trading. Interesting. 2000 and I think it was 2003. That's one of the places I lost money. I think it was 2003. Somebody came to meet me, a senior pastor for that matter, came to meet me, and I gathered friends together like we always do. And he said, with Forex trading, we will be getting 5% every month. And I did the exercise. If I put 5,000 pounds and I'm getting 5% every month, even Warren Buffett will be afraid of me. But do you know what happened? I lost all that money. Why? Because the risk is so high and you have little control, very, very little control over it. Have people made money from it? Yes. But because of the level of risk, it's not something I would do. But if you have the chest, you have the liver, you don't mind if you lose your 5,000 pounds, you are still young, all well and good, but it's not something I would recommend for people. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. I like that you put some fun into all that we're listening to today. I have a very senior friend on the call. We call her Mommy Fola. I didn't tell her, but if she says yes, I would have already given her rights to speak. Mommy Fola has been a friend of the Finance Coach BK platform for a while. And I don't know if she would like to say something about investment, because she's over 70. And once we had a conversation, she said that in retirement, her investment in stock is some of the things that she lives on right now. I like the story she told me, and I would like her to also maybe take 5 minutes to talk to us about how she started investing in shares. Thank you, Ma. Will you please share your experience with us? Mommy Fola. We can't hear you. Hello, Ma. Oh, wow. Okay. Pastor Remy, while we're waiting for Mommy Fola, can you please share your experience with us?
Okay. Am I on now?
Okay, Mommy is here now. Okay. Hello. All right, Mommy Fola, we can hear you now.
Good evening. Good evening, Sister Bibu.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Pastor Niyi. Thank you very much for the education, the enlightenment. I'm very grateful. Well, I went into thank God for the opportunity of the father that I had. When we were very young, it was the practice. My father would not, even anybody gave you, even at that time, we were collecting 2 shillings, 3 pence, whatever that money was. My father would never allow you to spend the money. We have to have a box that we put that money there. When it gets to a particular amount, you grant and take it into where at time the bank we were using those days was post office. So you go and save the money in the post office. And that was it. So as a very young child, I've never had, I've always been, in my father inculcated the discipline of saving money. You must always put something aside. And before I left the university, that was when these shares, can I remember? That was they started, shares started going public. And my father said, okay, he got the forms, asked me to fill it, and said to me, all the money you have been putting in the post office, go and bring everything. And that was what he used to do for the shares for me at that time. And by the time I started working, left the university, started working, I've already had the interest in wanting to place money or investment, something somewhere. So from my early days of even working, even when I went for my NYSC, where the first set of the NYSC, the salary they were paying me, I was putting money aside. I was already used to it. And by the time we came back and got married, and we heard that there's a property selling somewhere, all the money I brought down from my investment, the savings, and it was that year that Udoji Gowa paid us Udoji. So all the money put together to have buy land. So all my life I have been somebody who must put money aside. And it has become an habit for me. And I'm always interested in what's going on, what's trending, what is happening there. Because I believe that I don't want, by my old age, I don't want to be dependent on anybody. I want to be an independent, be able to take care of myself. Still now, I still do that every year. I still go back, I buy stock. I do a lot more in stocks, and I do a lot more in the money investment, capital market. I mean, a money investment.
Money market, yeah.
And there was nothing, yes. There was nothing I ever sold to get money. I'm a manageable person. So I made my little money. And when I had the opportunity to meet Sister Bimbo, and I listened to her, I followed up immediately because I'm always interested. What news? What next? Where can you spread your net to be stable on the ground? So she led me to one night there. I participated in it and I reported back to her. I said, "This is what I have for you. This is what I have done. Am I okay?" She assured me. And I thank God that I'm still there. So even all these ones that you are talking about, there was a time I wanted to invest in the real estate. But I was told, I have too many things on my plate. I said, no, let me stay to where I am. Even at this age, what am I running after? Thank you very much. This is my own testimony.
Thank you so much, Ma, and for sharing at short notice. I didn't even chat with you or call you. Thank you so much. Your audio was cracking, but I heard very well that you started very early. You were encouraged by your father. You started even while you were in university. And even till now, you're still looking for opportunities to invest. And I heard you saying that you checked with me, and that's what we recommend. You check with professionals if what you're doing is right or wrong. And from listening to you, it's also important that we understand that nothing is too small to start with. While you were talking, somebody put in the comment box and said colo. So while we may not have physical colos anymore, while we may not have physical colos anymore, there are, options and instruments around where we can invest, where we can save little by little and then translate the savings into investment. Thank you so much, Ma, for sharing with us. Thank you so much. Pastor Remy,
thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you very, very much, PBK, Pastor Bimbo Komolafe, for this. Thank you to Mommy too. Mommy, good evening, Ma. I think honestly, it has been an amazing session. As I think I put some of my comments in the box. Pastor Niyi's session was so simple but so true, laden with wisdom. When Pastor Bimbo asked me, would I attend? I said, yes, I will, because I really, it's one thing to think you know everything. I'm a chartered accountant for the financial services industry, but also I think it's important, every then, to check yourself and as Pastor was taking us through, information, improve on yourself, make sure that you're doing the right things, learn more each and every day. And for me, that was what I did here today. I just, it was just really such an enjoyable, great, and but extremely critical and informative session. Honestly, I'm not even sure what I can add to what he has said, but maybe I'll just say, for people who want to start small, these days there are lots of very well renowned and accredited brokerage, investment brokerage firms, where you can sign on, and they're all online. Many of them are online in Nigeria here. So I'm not talking about foreign investments, but in Nigeria here, where you can open an account, get a CSCS account. You need a CSCS number to be able to trade on the stock exchange. As a student, if it's 5,000 naira, you set aside every single month, and you just buy stocks that are worth, buy stocks every month, 5,000 naira. Even that, over the next 4 years, assuming you just started university this year, for example, it will build up. And as the pastor said, look at the stocks, the GTB stocks he bought 30 years ago, and look at where they are today. So start small. Don't despise the days of small beginnings. The other thing I'll add is that I personally don't invest in anything I don't understand. So when he started talking about certain types of investments, I don't want to mention them because I don't want to discredit any. But if I don't understand it, it's a personal philosophy for me. If I don't understand it, I don't get involved. And it's not, and I won't stop anybody else from I won't say to other people, don't do it, but try and make sure. And maybe on my part, I need to understand a bit more about those financial instruments that I don't, or those investments that I don't understand. But if you don't understand and you want to invest in it, try and find out about it. Information in investment is really, really critical. You can't game the market, so as Pastor said, sometimes you always take a long-term view and don't say, it's because I know that by this time, this investment is going to be worth, because sometimes you just can't game the market. But if you are in there for as long as possible, or a long horizon, honestly, the chances are that it will be profitable, to grow, it will benefit you, benefit your life, and you won't have any regrets. What else would I say? There's so much going on in my mind, but I really think everything that's been said here today, it's just for a delayed gratification. I also grew up with a very strong Ekiti dad. He used to tell us in those days, for every 1 naira you spend, you must make sure you invest or you save 1, So, he was not a financial expert, but he just knew that, you can't eat seed, and expect to have a harvest, So you must have a seed that you invest, a seed that you have savings. I'm sure you talked about that yesterday. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend yesterday because I was at the program, but you must invest, and you cannot eat your seed and then expect a harvest later on. I'll stop there. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you, Pastor Remy. Thank you so much. We know you have a very tight schedule, but I'm sure the Finance Coach BK community will be very happy to have you as a guest speaker or around our money table talk very soon. Thank you so much. There's something that I want to bring out from what Mami Fola and Pastor Remy have said. And Pastor Niyi said it earlier on also, 5,000 naira. There's nobody around this call that cannot say, today is 2nd of September, that cannot say they cannot put 5,000 naira together before the end of this year. Now, I told you Mami Fola is over 70. I might even be, I'm not too right about how old she is, but she's been retired for a while. And if you listen to her, I know it was cracking a bit, but the power of compounding. One time she mentioned how much she got from dividends and my mouth was ajar. So if you set a target for yourself and say, let's start today. Pastor Niyi pointed out that we have a lot of registered participants between the ages of 20 and 30. Let's say you put 5,000 naira aside and before the end of this year and say, let me just start this investment journey. Let me start it and see what it's all about. I think it's a challenge that we all can go away, with today. And one of the reasons why we continue to do this is because we want people to learn from our mistakes. We want people to learn, do things better than we did. You heard Pastor Niyi, he was very, very blunt about how he got burnt with Forex trading. So we share our experience because we want people to do things better than we did. Now, this is session 1 that we targeted at the young adults. Next weekend, if you're not so occupied with schoolwork and you're still available, please join us on Friday and on Saturday. We will be looking at debt. Now, why did I start talking about mistakes? For a very long time, I read accounting in school. I'm a certified banker. I'm a chartered accountant. For a very long time, I thought that financial fitness was for you not to have any form of debt. And so I did not understand the value in borrowing to create wealth. And then, you would have heard that we're Christians. Pastor Niyi is a Christian. I'm a Christian. Mami Fola is, Pastor Remy. And this is not to say this is a faith-based program, but for me as a Christian, I also suffered from not understanding how to manage debt to create wealth. I thought indebtedness was like a pseudo sin. Now, Pastor Niyi warned on one of his slides, there are good debts and there are bad debts, but we will be having Shayo, Tola, Gunaike, talk to us next weekend about how we can leverage credits and borrowing to create wealth. Trust me, I didn't start borrowing to create wealth while I was working. I did not understand the power in that. And it's not borrowing to live above my means, it is borrowing to invest in assets that will self-pay itself. So please join us next weekend. Don't think that, oh, I don't have so much money, and why do I need to understand that now? If you have the information, by the time the opportunity comes, you're knowledgeable enough to take advantage of that opportunity. Pastor Ayodeji Ebo would also be talking to us about investment strategies for building wealth in the current economic landscape. Yes, oil prices have gone up, fuel price has gone up, minimum wage is now, I think, equivalent of $30 or whatever it is. What can you do? What can we invest in? What should we do as low and high income earners? And what are the investment instruments available for us? And remember, all of it is towards financial fitness and financial freedom. So please make it a date with us next weekend. It's impressive to see the number of people that joined us. And if only a fraction of the people that joined us would take action and do things differently, then the partners of Finance Coach BK and myself will be very happy that we have made good impact. Thank you very much, Pastor Niyi. I'm very grateful for all you do behind the scenes and also for accepting to speak today, even though you still ended up being Lagbaja, not showing us your face. Thank you, Pastor Remy. Thank you, Mommy Fola. Thank you so very much. So we would end the session 1 and continue session 2 next weekend. Please tell your friends about this. Everybody, the facilitators are doing this free, sharing from their knowledge, skills, and experience. And so we should make good use of their availability. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you for our senior friends that are on the call. I think Mrs. Titila Olujobi is also with us today. Your Honor, Auntie Tosin, thank you for joining us. Your Honor, Madam Funke, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Dr. T joined us from Manchester. I think I saw Pastor BC at a point also from Manchester. My pastor is here, Pastor Rotimi Olufemi. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. And everybody is important. My young mentees, my nieces, my nephews. Oh, Gabrielle, thank you so much. I can see you online. Eunice, all the way from Alberta. She's a diehard follower. She actually started the branding of Finance Coach BK with me. Thank you so much, Eunice, for joining. And my love to your baby. Yes, everybody. Doctors, thank you. Adewale Oluyede, thank you so much. Amaka Njoku. And if you sent a question anonymously, please remember to send a question to the Gmail and with your name so that we can answer you and personalize your responses. Chioma Nebo, thank you. Chidima Madu, thank you for joining us. Chukwemeka Stephen Collins is a DK Guam, thank you. And yes, Madam Etuku Amafa, thank you so much. I know you publicized this event. Fatima Al Hassan, thank you for joining us. Foluke Sami, thank you. Hope Etim, yes, you were here in 2021. I'm glad to see you again. Useni Dori, thank you. Ifeanyi Ani, thank you. Imole, you're a star. Joshua Enox, my friend, good to see you. Your Honor, Mrs. Olaito Ajayi, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Auntie Bumi, I see you live and direct. Mrs. Aoyemi, thank you.